Fitness, coming at you. Why I think sun exposure is important. Now, before I even get into this, this is one of those things where you have to know your body, okay? So someone who's super pale and, maybe even has a history or family history of skin cancer, you probably need to just ignore this whole video or get yourself some sun in moderation. I'm not for tanning beds. I'm not for artificially tanning. I don't judge those who do, but that's not for me. I think they do more harm than good. But I am for getting a tan from the sun, the natural sun, the real sun. I'm Mediterranean, so I can get away with being in the sun for long periods of time and not needing to really worry about sunscreen or any of that, and I will get tanner as I'm out. I think everyone can get used to the sun's rays if you start gradual and work your way up, just like with anything, progressive overloading with the sun. But I think there are so many health benefits that come with getting enough sun and getting sun exposure in general. Everyone knows about the vitamin D, which I think is great. But even just for overall mood and serotonin production, it's been shown that getting some sun can help with all of these things. And, it's in the fitness community, people like to look tan, but I'd say, 2/3 of the people are getting are going into tanning beds and stuff. And I think there's a place for that for certain people. Again, that's not for me, nor would I ever recommend anybody using a tanning bed. But I love laying out in the sun or working out in the sun if I can. If I go for a run outside or am just reading a book, I'll try to be outside. I will wear minimum clothing. Obviously not enough clothes that I'm not offending anybody, but I'm wearing short shorts and generally no shirt. And if I do put sunscreen on, it's really only on my tattoos, and I have a lot of tattoos, but even then I'm not super worried about it, because I don't burn, so I will get gradually darker and darker the more I'm out. But getting enough sun will help, like I mentioned before, with serotonin and overall mood. It'll also help your skin. If you struggle with some acne, like most people do, it can help with that. It can help with scarring. It can help just overall skin health, to a point. There's a balance with it, right? So like if you're out in the sun too much, it can have the opposite effect. You can have health issues, right? And your skin can become leathery, and so there's a balance to it. Depending on how much melanin you have in your skin will dictate how long you should be out in the sun. If you have a lot of melanin, you should be out in the sun a lot, and you're going to need to be out in a lot because it's harder for you to actually absorb the vitamin D from the rays. At the same time, it's very rarely you're going to have any health issues when it comes to the sun. Meanwhile, the paler you are, the less melanin you have in your skin, you have to be more mindful, right? I think sunscreen, like I said, it has its place. There's a lot of weird stuff in sunscreen. It's essentially blocking your skin from the sun with metals. Aluminum and stuff. That's essentially how sunscreen works. And so I personally do not recommend that because, again, you're putting metal all over your skin, and I don't know how great that can be, Again, you have to go with where you're at and what kind of skin you have. And so certain people are going to need sunscreen, and that's completely fine. If you can't be outside for more than 10-15 minutes at a time without burning, you might need a little sunscreen. But I think for a lot of people, even pale people, they'll get really badly burned, and then it kind of traumatizes them into thinking, okay, I can't go out in the sun without sunscreen, and I have to put a bunch of sunscreen on to go out, otherwise I'll just get fried. And I don't think that that's 100% true. I think a lot of times when that happens, people are out way too long, right? So they're not out for 15 minutes going inside, and then maybe the next day out 25 minutes and then going inside, and then the next day maybe 35, 45 minutes and then going inside. It's like, oh, I was out at the pool for 4 hours, 3 hours, and I didn't put any sunscreen on and I got cooked. And so then they just think they can never handle being in the sun. But in reality, if you would have progressively overloaded with getting used to the sun, your skin adapts. You know, the human body is very adaptable, not just to cardiovascular training and weightlifting, but to that as well. The skin is super adaptable. And if you allow yourself, you know, if you take your time with it, just like with anything else, especially what we talk about here on this channel, you can adjust. You can adjust. And I remember when I was super little, you know, I wasn't super proactive about being outside as much as I am now. So I would burn a lot easier. And then as I got older, I was outside more and more and more. You know, I kind of grew up before the internet age. Well, 1 foot in the internet age, 1 foot kind of outside of it, right? AOL Messenger days. You know, some people know what I'm talking about. But so as I got older, right, playing schoolyard baseball outside, playing street hockey outside, and so my skin adjusted. And I got to the point now where I'm not even really worried about it. If I have to be in the sun all day, then I will definitely put some sunscreen on, especially on my tattoos. And that's more not because I'm going to burn. It's more just because, you know, tattoos can fade with sun exposure. One of the reasons also I'm probably not getting color anymore. I like black and white tattoos for that reason too. But even those can fade as well. Yeah, and, you know, just drink a lot of water. You know, I'd say the majority of people are walking around dehydrated, and if you're going to be out in the sun, even for brief periods of time, you have to push fluids. You know, you have to hydrate yourself. You know, your skin will do so much better, as will everything else, if you're just making sure you're drinking enough water. I mean, that's so crucial just for overall health, but especially if you're trying to get out and get some rays. So yeah, recap: minimal sunscreen. If you are going to use it, me personally, I only put it on my tattoos. Even then, I don't really like doing it. Pushing water, you know, all day, every day, but especially if you're going to be out in the sun, you got to push water. And yeah, just see how you feel. Start gradually. You know, we're human. We're meant to be out in the sun, and there's kind of this movement now of, you know, villainizing the sun and how much harm it can do. And, you know, I just think that's so bizarre because we evolved to be in the sun. So, yeah.